Hello kids! This is our video lesson presentation in EPP 6 on layout design of an orchard. Kids, at the end of this lesson, you are all expected to prepare layout design of an orchard garden using the information gathered. Discuss the different layout design of an orchard garden and identify the different layout design of an orchard garden. So before that, you will have your review time. So kids, please to prepare your activity notebook and your pen. Are you ready? So here's the directions. Observe each picture. Tell the different ways of propagating trees or fruit-bearing trees and the proper care of seedlings. So I'm going to flash pictures on the screen and you are going to identify the different ways of propagating and the proper care of seedlings. So, number 1, you have to name what way of propagating is shown in the picture. Write down your answer. And this is grafting. Let's proceed. How about this? Is this a way of propagating or a proper care of seedlings? So write down your answer. And this is marketing. Very good. Let's proceed. How about this? Write your answer. And it is budding. Next picture. The picture describes as answer applying fertilizers, one of the proper care of seedlings. Then next, how about this one? This is very important to loosen the soil so that it can be easily absorbed water or the fertilizer. And this is cultivating. We have next. Oh, see how happy the seedling? Because of watering it. Right. So, how's your score? Did you get all 6? Hopefully. Let's proceed. You have to learn something new today, but before that, I'm going to give you guide questions for your learning. Number 1, what are some of the orchard layouts? Make sure you could answer this question after. 2, how are these layouts done? And the last, why is layout plan important in planting? So make sure you could answer these 3 guide questions so that your learning is complete. And let's start. An orchard layout is a technique of planting the crops systematically. There are different ways in planting, thus different layouts. Planting trees and fruit trees require proper spacing for them to flourish and bear fruits. Other factors to consider when determining the distance between trees are the fertility of the soil, variety or species, and size of trees at full maturity. And of course, the preference of the grower. It is very important. The layout design of an orchard. So the layout of an orchard refers to fixing the position of trees in an orchard when planning a plantation. Take note, it's a plantation. Thus, the layout of an orchard is very important to ensure proper growth of trees. Designing the layout of an orchard garden must have the following goals. So you have goals to follow. First, utilize the orchard space, of course. Second, we must capture the greatest amount. Third, sunlight exposure is directly related to fruit quality, bud formation, and fruitwood survival. And fourth, competition for soil, moisture, nutrients, and light, that is, close planting or wide planting. There are five general methods of arranging trees in the orchard or plantation depending on the terrain, soil condition, moisture, and other conditions. Tree spacing should be determined by the specific type of tree planted. Remember to have sufficient space at the end of the rows of trees to allow equipment being used in the orchard to pass through. So let's start with the first method. You called it square method. It's simplest and easiest method. Same distance measurement. See, look at the illustration. It's form a square. That's why we call that square method. The trees are usually distanced apart at right angles to form a square, of course, to each other, with a tree on the corner of each square. So we have advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are irrigation channels and path can be made straight, easy cultivation, spraying and harvesting, and better supervision. For the disadvantages, limited trees can be planted in the given area, and a certain amount of space is wasted in the middle of the four trees. Correct. Then let's have the second method, the rectangular method. So form from four adjacent trees that are in a rectangular shape. Okay, more or less the same as square, but it widened a little. The square may be modified by making the row farther apart from east to west than north to south, pertaining the maximum access of sunlight to the trees. Okay. And the advantages are irrigation channels can be made length and breadth wise, possible for intercropping. But the disadvantages, limited trees can be planted in a given area, and a certain amount of space is also wasted in the middle of four trees, same as square method. Let's have the third method, the quincunx or diagonal method. Trees are planted like in square method but has additional tree in the center of each square called a filler crop. So see, it's a square but you have one tree planted at the center. Permanent trees are planted on each corner of the square. A filler or semi-permanent tree may be placed in the center of the square. This is a desirable system to follow when a smaller temporary variety is raised in the center and which will be pulled out in the future, thus leaving the permanent trees in the square. This will enable more trees to be planted. The advantages, additional income can be earned from the filler crop. Almost double the number of trees can be planted initially, and full use of land is possible. For the disadvantages, skills required to lay out the orchard. Trees in between may interfere the growth of the main crop. Spacing the main crop is reduced if filler crop continues to grow. And for the fourth, the equilateral triangle or the hexagonal method. Trees are planted at the corners of an equilateral triangle as shown in the picture, where 6 triangles are joined, forming a hexagon shape with a 7th tree on the center. Okay, look at the illustration. That's how it formed, the equilateral triangle or the hexagonal method. This system brings the permanent trees in the adjacent row, not opposite the trees in the adjoining, but opposite the center of the spaces between the trees. And the advantages, ideal for fertile soil and with source of water. More trees can be planted. Some same distance can be maintained. More income, of course, can be obtained. And the disadvantages are difficult intercultural operations. And skill is required to lay out the orchard. And for the fifth, you have the contour or terracing method. The imaginary line connecting all points with equal elevation across the slope is called contour. Done in a hilly area by connecting all points of the same elevation across the slope, maintaining the space. Okay, this is how contour lined. This technique gives growers opportunity to use areas that are vulnerable and erosion, like hillside. The trees planted in parallel rows that contour around a land help control erosion and retain moisture. Terraces are also a form of contour planting. Advantages can be utilized in a hilly area and in leveled land. Helps controlling soil erosion. Helps conservation of water. An easy path for movements on the hill slopes for various tasks in the orchard. But the disadvantages, its difficult layout of contour lines and time consuming. Requires special skills and instruments to make contour lines layout the method, and not equal row to row distance, and adjustments may be required in the plant to plant distance. Now, layout have requirements also. First, you have to locate your orchard for easy access for monitoring, maintenance, and harvest. Second, allocate space for a shed or building for supply storage, equipment, and post-harvest package. Third, locate near a water source. It may be a pond, a stream, or well for irrigation. Fourth, block same species together for pollination, pest control, and running. Plant spacing depends on several factors, including species growth rate, you have the height and the spread, the pollination distances, and equipment access for moving, spraying, and harvesting. Now, it's time to try. You have to develop your skills. Get ready with your activity notebook and pen. So let's start. Here, we are going to draw layout of arranging trees in an orchard. You may use your activity notebook for your answers. So for the first box, you're going to draw the square method. Now, draw it. The second is the rectangular method. The third, the hexagonal method, or the triangular method. 4, the contour, and 5 is the quincunx method. I'll give you 2 minutes for this. Time is up. Let's see if you know already the layout, the different layouts. Let's start with number 1, square method. So, there you have it. If you draw there at least 4 or square trees formed, that will be okay. Then second, the rectangular method. Also, you have to widen your square. Correct. Then, the hexagonal or triangular method. The fourth, the contour method. And of course, the last, the quincunx method. Okay, you got all 5? So, you answered already your first guide question. Let's proceed. For your activity 2, match column A with column B. Write the letter on your answer sheets. Okay, so how column A are the layout design and column B are the descriptions. So you have to match. Okay? Square method is Yes, the most basic and common arrangement of orchard trees. How about rectangular method? It is the trees are planted from distance from north to south, from east to west to widen this more. Then the contour method is a technique gives growers the opportunity to use areas that are vulnerable for erosion like hillsides. Very good. And for number four, the hexagonal, so of course hexagon means six, so that is six trees are planted to form a hexagon with the seventh tree planted in the middle. Very good. And for the five, yes, this consists of four trees at the corners of the square with one tree in the middle. Very good. So you got all five. Perfect. And since you've already answered all your guide questions, you are ready for your assessments. So for assessment 1, you're going to illustrate and identify the different methods or layout of an orchard. Write your answer on your answer sheet or your activity sheet. So you have there 5. You're going to complete the concept map. What are the 5 layout designs of an orchard? Okay, draw there on each box of the concept map. So here's the rubrics for your drawing. Then, for assessment 2, supposing you had a space where you can make an orchard. What kind of orchard are you going to make and why? Write your answer on your answer sheet. So we have also rubrics here for your paragraph. Okay. So, let's have your activity or your additional activity. Make a layout design of your dream orchard. So you're going to illustrate or you're going to draw a layout design of your dream orchard. We have also rubrics here to follow. And this will be turned into your Google Classroom, same as your assessment. You have questions? So, it's done. Thanks. If you have any questions, you can find me at Clivy Civilia. Bye. So spread your wings and fly, kids, for you are all now ready to have an orchard. Bye, everyone.